Team Hardlife Captain Alberto Zertuche. We got our next video, and this one is going to hit right at home with a lot of people who go fishing. If you haven't really gotten the chance to go fishing, this will really help you out as well. It's to how to properly crimp monofilaments and your cable. A lot of times when you buy your crimps and or your sleeves, your monofilament, your cable, so you can start building your own leaders, you really aren't shown the proper way how to crimp and why it's done the way it's done. And the reason for it is because, say on monofilament, you'll learn you can't crimp all the way to the end of the sleeve like you can with cable, because that end will cut into your monofilament, reduce the line strength that you're fishing with. Now with cable, you can't crimp it like monofilament because then it won't grip the way it's supposed to grip as well. So first off, we're going to go ahead and start with monofilament. These are already pre-cut for the leaders that we make, and it's a setup for a double drop drum rig. This is 100-pound test, and what we've got are 1.0 double mini sleeves. All right, these sleeves will fit perfectly on this mono, and what we mean by perfect is it's real close. There's no gap between the monofilament and your sleeve. And the reason for that is so that way when you go to crimp, it's not about how much pressure you can put on it, but how tight you can make it without it messing with the integrity of your fishing line. So, as you can see, I'm kind of having a little trouble here inserting this cut in. What happens a lot too, when you're cutting a lot of monofilament, you'll mushroom out the end of the line. And sometimes what you have to do there is use some good cutters to... Okay, so as I was saying, with the sleeve barely fitting over the mono, it doesn't give it much room to have any flare up of your monofilament on this side. You'll see that sometimes it's real hard to get in there and you'll get frustrated. Now, a good recommendation is a good pair of scissors or some cutters like this. And the reason for it is because you'll cut diagonally into your mono like that. Okay, what that'll do is it'll help when you want to put your monofilament into your sleeve as such. Now when you get to the second part, you'll notice how it's kind of sticking there. What you can do is walk your sleeve or hold your monofilament and wrap your sleeve back and forth. Now, see how the mono is barely sticking out right there? That's exactly what I want. I don't want a whole bunch of mono sticking out the other end, because while you're fishing, that can actually create a catch point. Okay, now I've got my mono in my sleeve, and you'll notice it's what they call a double barrel sleeve. It looks like two barrels together, but this is what we prefer for our leaders. Now that I've got it like this, I'll get my crimpers, and right here, I'll have to properly choose the size that it belongs on. Setting it up like this, left to right, you can see how my double barrel is sitting in there. Now you'll also see that it's sticking out a little bit on this side. Okay, now if you'll notice, it sticks out on both sides. That's exactly what I want. I want the crimp to be crimped right in the middle of my sleeve. Since these are this small, this is what you're looking for. When you're ready, you can go ahead and crimp it. And I'm just using my hand, and it's gone as far as my hand will let me go. And here we go. That is a properly crimped crimp on monofilament. All right, guys. So again, you got your 1.0 millimeter double mini sleeve with your 100-pound mono. Let's stick it in. Slipping it through, I'm going to attach my snap swivel, and then I'm going to insert the other end. I want it to barely come out the other side before I go ahead and cinch it down. Alright, now once you got there, you take your crimpers and be sure to set it up on the one setting for it, and this one's a 1.0. There you go. And then too, make sure that it's equal on both sides, that it's right in the middle of your sleeve. All right, and then go and crimp. And again, all with just one hand. Or if you don't have a good grip, go ahead and use both. But this pre-governs where you're actually going to crimp it too. It won't be able to over crimp, which will ensure that when you're going to test this, it won't slip on you. It won't damage your line strength is what will end up happening. So that is a major plus. I'll do it one more time for you. Again, just simple insertion of your line on one side. Put whatever you're going to put on. Double it back, make sure it comes through, and then move it on over. For my snap swivels and stuff like that, I'll go with smaller loops. With my hooks, I'll do actually a bigger size loop, just all depending on what style of hook I'm actually using. Again, I'm going to set it right in the middle, so that way it's equal on both sides. There you go, see it? And it's still on my second setting for a 1.0 millimeter size. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a crimp. Okay. And like I said before, let me go ahead and show y'all something. With these crimpers, even with me squeezing in both hands, I only need one, but it won't damage my crimp or my monofilament, so I don't have any weakened line. This normally would be a weak point, but because we're doing it like this, it really doesn't matter. Now, going into cable, right here, what I have is some 1,000-pound cable, which is stainless steel. I got a brass sleeve. Now that's the other thing too. If you're using stainless steel, you're going to want to use brass or copper sleeves. Do not use aluminum, because aluminum will actually oxidize against the stainless steel as soon as it hits the salt water. Alright, and then I'll always go in front side of the hook, come out, and go back in right through there. And same thing. Once my cable can be felt on this side, I don't want it too long out on this side, because what will end up happening, the cable will fray out and create a bunch of puncture points, and that's not very fun, trust me. So on my hook, since these are drops and going into big baits, I really don't want a whole bunch of movement, but I still want some, you know what I mean? That's just fine for me right there. Now this is a 2.5 millimeter sleeve, which this crimper doesn't have it, but by using the biggest setting, still allows me to crimp it. And as you can see right through there, I've got it flush on that side to where I'm right at the edge of my crimp. Now I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. And since it didn't do the whole sleeve, as you can tell, I'm going to go ahead and crimp all the way through. And I've actually seen where improperly crimping or not getting enough crimp, seeing the cable actually slip out and lose a major catch. So I had to crimp it 4 times in order to get it all the way through. But as you can tell, I went from end to end on this because it is cable. The edge of the sleeve will not cut into the cable while it's under pressure. So again, real quick, I'm going to go to the other side and create my loop. So I'm going to insert my cable, go and make my loop, coming back. And again, just enough to where I could feel it right there, catch my finger, then I'm going to go ahead and make my loop. On this side, I like it a little bigger because I'm using long line clips on my big rigs. So, again, I'm going to use the biggest size on these crimpers. Make sure that it's not sticking out. I want it nice and flush right there. See it? Okay, now I'm going to crimp. 1, 2. Oh, might be able to do it in 3. And 3. There you go. Nice, simple. See how it's straight all the way across too? That's gonna be something you're gonna want to pay attention to. When you start crimping a lot of sleeves, you'll start to wear down your crimpers. So you got to kind of pay attention to those as well. But again, for stainless steel cable or any kind of cable, you crimp from end to end. On mono, you don't do that. If you crimp end to end, when you crimp end to end on monofilament, that edge will actually cut into your mono. So here we go. right there. That's a monofilament crimp right there, 100-pound test, and a crimp on 1,000-pound cable. So I hope you enjoyed our knowledge for today. We got more coming, and we're going to be changing it up even more. We're going to start doing some connection points and stuff like that. And then we're actually going to go out and put all this knowledge to the test as we like to do. We hope you enjoy it. This is Team Hard Life Captain Alberto Zertuche. Please subscribe to our channel and we'll check you on the next video. Have a good day.